Welcome to Breaking News to Trading Moves. Our goal here is pretty simple. We take a current event and pull out the essential information you need to understand the market's response and what it means for the future.
And today we're looking at a key regulatory decision in the pharmaceutical world. Specifically, the UK has just cleared a new biologic drug. This kind of action gives us a very clear picture of who stands to gain and which companies are now facing some new competitive pressure.
Right. So today we're focused on the UK regulator's decision, that's the MHRA, regarding GSK's new asthma biologic, Exdensur. We'll go through the headline facts and then review the companies that are identified as winners and losers based on this news.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the core announcement. What exactly did GSK get approval for, and why is the dosing schedule really the thing everyone's talking about?
So the approval is for Exdensur. It's a product that works by targeting something called interleukin-5 or IL-5. Yeah. And for you, the listener, IL-5 is basically a signaling protein. It drives a certain kind of inflammation, the kind caused by white blood cells called eosinophils. When those go into overdrive, you get these severe asthma flares.
So Exdensur's job is to just dial that back down.
Exactly. It's designed to calm that overreaction. But, the delivery method is what really makes this stand out.
And that's the twice-yearly part.
That's the part. The approval is for an under-the-skin injection, a subcutaneous injection, that's given just twice a year.
Twice a year. I mean, that's a huge departure from what's currently on the market.
It's a major convenience advantage. To give you some context, other biologics in the space can require an injection every month, sometimes even every 2 weeks. So this schedule is the real point of differentiation that GSK is counting on.
And it's not just for severe asthma, right? What other conditions did the MHRA clear it for?
Correct. It's approved as what's called an add-on therapy for asthma patients aged 12 and up who aren't getting control from their standard treatments. But it also got approval for adults with chronic rhinosinusitis with nasal polyps.
Which is, in simpler terms, a very serious and hard-to-treat sinus condition.
Yes, exactly, involving a lot of inflammation.
So this is the first global approval for Exdensur. What does this mean for the U.S. market?
That's right, the UK moved first. And that's important because it sets a precedent ahead of the US FDA decision. That one is currently slated for December 16th, 2025, so still a ways off.
Okay, so this gives GSK a head start.
It does. It lets them launch, start getting real-world data, and build a track record well before they even enter the US market.
All right, let's turn to the winners here. We have 3 distinct categories of companies that are positioned to gain from this approval.
The first one is probably the most obvious. It's what we call the sponsor and respiratory franchise upside.
So GSK itself.
Right. The primary company is GSK, that's ticker GSK, and also their partner PFE, ticker PFE. For GSK, this first approval just de-risks the entire launch. It shows investors the drug works in the real world.
And that twice-yearly dosing really strengthens their whole growth story in respiratory medicine.
Absolutely. It's a powerful lever for getting doctors and patients to adopt it.
Now, this is where it moves beyond just the drug maker. The second category isn't about the medicine itself, but the hardware used to deliver it.
Exactly. The category is injectable delivery and packaging. You have to remember, biologics like Exdensur aren't simple pills. They're complex proteins that need very precise, high-quality delivery systems to work properly.
Auto-injectors and things like that.
Precisely. We're talking about companies like WST, ticker WST, and BDX, ticker BDX. They make these sophisticated components, the glass, the polymers, the device mechanisms.
So as more of these long-acting drugs get approved, the demand for their specific products just goes up.
It's a direct relationship. When a big drug launches, these suppliers see a corresponding rise in demand for their high-margin components.
Makes sense. The drug is only as good as the device that gets it into the patient.
Okay.
And the third category?
The third category points to the diagnostics and care pathway enablers.
So the lab companies.
Yes. This is about the supporting infrastructure. These are expensive, targeted drugs. You don't just get them prescribed lightly. You have to qualify.
And how does this specific approval help the diagnostic companies?
Well, the companies here are DGX, ticker DGX, and LH, ticker LH. The logic is pretty straightforward. To get a drug like Exdensur, a doctor has to confirm you have that specific type 2 inflammation we mentioned.
The one driven by eosinophils.
Right. And that means you need lab tests to measure your eosinophil counts and other biomarkers. So a successful launch of a new biologic almost always increases the volume of these kinds of high-value lab tests.
They're essentially the gatekeepers for the therapy.
In a way, yes.
Okay, that lays out the winners pretty clearly. But for every winner, there are others facing new challenges. Let's look at the other side of this.
The first group of losers includes the severe asthma biologic competitors. These are the companies that Exdensur is going to be competing with directly for patients.
And who are the main players there? And how much of a threat is this new dosing schedule?
The key companies are REGN, ticker REGN, and SNY, ticker SNY. The main challenge for them is just convenience.
It's a big one.
It is. If you're a patient getting an injection every couple of weeks, the option to switch to something you only have to think about twice a year is very, very compelling. This puts a lot of pressure on competitors to hold their market share.
So even if their drug is just as good medically, the ease of use could be the deciding factor.
It often is. And that brings us to the second category of companies facing headwinds. Other branded biologics competing in the same specialist channel.
This is that idea of prescriber consolidation. So this isn't about asthma drugs, but other specialty drugs that the same doctors prescribe.
That's it. Think about the specialists, pulmonologists, ENT doctors. They and the insurance companies are always looking for simplicity. The companies listed here are AZN, ticker AZN, and AMGN, ticker AMGN.
So why would a doctor prescribing Exdensur affect a company like Amgen?
It's about operational efficiency in the clinic. It's easier to train your staff on fewer products. It simplifies inventory. If a new drug like Exdensur is effective and has a much lower treatment burden, a specialist might just start to consolidate their prescribing habits around it.
So it's not just competition for the patient, it's competition for the doctor's time and attention.
You've got it. It might make them less likely to adopt other, more complex specialty drugs, even if they treat a different condition.
Okay, so what about the older, more traditional treatments?
That's our third category, legacy maintenance respiratory exposure. Now, this isn't an immediate threat. It's more of a long-term headwind.
A slow burn. And which companies fall into this group?
The companies are VTRS, ticker VTRS, and TEVA, ticker TEVA. They have large portfolios of older respiratory products, things like branded inhalers and other maintenance therapies.
And the logic is that as biologics get better and more convenient, patients will move to them earlier.
That's the narrative. The standard of care slowly moves away from the traditional daily inhalers for severe patients and toward these targeted biologics. So, while the effect on their sales might be gradual, an approval like this one today reinforces that trend.
So to sum it up, we have the UK approval for Exdensur. And what's clear is that one factor, the twice-yearly dosing, is reordering the competitive landscape. It directly benefits GSK and its partners, the specialized delivery device makers, and the diagnostic labs.
Right. And at the same time, it puts immediate pressure on direct competitors because of the convenience gap. It also indirectly challenges other specialty drugs by encouraging doctors to simplify, and it creates a long-term headwind for older legacy treatments.
So this leads to a question for you, our listener, to think about.
Yes. As these treatments become less and less frequent, we're talking twice a year versus monthly or even biweekly, that means the patient is interacting far less often with their doctor, with the clinic, with everyone. So how will drug companies have to adapt to maintain patient loyalty and ensure people actually get that next dose when it's 6 months away?
A final note for you. The views expressed regarding these companies and market movements, including the ticker symbols GSK, PFE, WST, BDX, DGX, LHREGN, SNY, AZN, AMGN, VTRS, and TEVA, are purely the opinion of the author. They should not be construed as financial advice or as a recommendation to buy or sell any security.
Thank you for exploring this with us.